When it comes to leveraging YouTube to generate free leads, very few agents do it at the capacity of Luke Smith. Today I'm bringing on Luke because he's got such a relatable story that you're probably going to see yourself in. He was struggling, he had no money, but he had to provide for his family. And so he did what it took and he got on YouTube, and he's going to break down not only his entire process, but the ninja strategies I've honestly never heard anybody talk about that helped catapult his channel and build a massive momentum to the point where he's got so many leads he has to build out a team right now because he can't even field them all. He has too many people coming to him. So if you want that to be the situation for you, which it very well can be, you just need to stay tuned for this entire video, because at the end, he breaks down some strategies that, again, you won't find anywhere else. Now, two quick things before getting started. Number one, I will link Luke's channel below. He not only has a production channel, which is the one we're going to talk about, but he just launched a new channel that's showing agents how to do what he's going to talk about on a deeper capacity in this conversation. Additionally, I'll link his calendar in case you'd like to chat with him, because he is a servant-hearted leader like I've never seen before. He cares so much about people, wants to see agents win, and if you'd like to partner with him and have his help one-on-one in order to scale your YouTube channel, you can book a call and chat with him about exactly that. But this is one that is going to give you an unbelievable crash course, roadmap, and blueprint to follow. So if you're serious and committed about leveraging YouTube, this is the only video you need to watch. All right, Luke, so super excited to kind of dive into your journey when it comes to YouTube. You know, you've been a poster child to many in our different mastermind communities and have really kind of gone from zero to hero when it comes to leveraging YouTube and getting incredible results with your content. But I'd love to kind of start, before we go into the tactical side of things, a little bit about your journey. You know, where did you start? Where did you come from? And what kind of got you to this point?
Yeah, Mike, thank you so much for having me on here. And when it comes down to it, like most real estate agents, I had no aspirations of being a realtor. And I kind of wound up here because I kind of had to be. I did special operations in the military. I was a police officer, and I was on my way to becoming a federal agent. And I was in the pipeline for 18 months. And 3 days before onboarding, I tore 4 ligaments in my ankle, 2 stress fractures, and I couldn't walk for 9 months. And the only thing that I had was a real estate license. So like back in the apartment days when it was me, my wife, and we had a roommate because I was broke, it was just me and my laptop trying to figure it out by myself. And that's what really got me into YouTube, or got me into real estate. And then you're the guy that got me into YouTube because I was just sick and tired of cold calling for sale boners and expireds. You know, you can only get cussed out so many times on the phone before you got to figure out, like, there has to be a better way, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You know, you've got a pretty incredible story when it comes to, you know, where you came from, and kind of we'll talk about some of the habits that you developed when being in the military. But then also, you know, kind of being in a position where you had to do whatever it took to actually provide for your family. So do you want to touch on that in terms of, you know, a little bit about getting married and maybe not being in the position that you wanted to, and the drive that kind of instilled in you in order to take massive action?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, growing up, I had a single mom that never made more than $30,000 a year. So we didn't struggle, you know what I mean? Like, she still got me what I needed to for like sports and school and stuff like that. But I've never had money. And then when I joined the military, I really found a purpose. And, you know, like throughout high school and everything, I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. But I knew I wanted to go all the way to the top. And I gave every ounce that I possibly had, got through special operations selection. And I was that nerd that would literally like take flashcards. And after work every day, I'd write down the weapon systems, the rounds, the battle position, like every single thing from start to finish. And, you know, I'd do flashcards, and I'd sit in my room, just, you know, drawing thousands of times. And it felt good because I'm a firm believer that winning is more fun than fun is fun. And I bet you can say the same thing. And it feels good when you're good at something. I don't know about you, but things aren't fun when you're not good at them. And that leads into real estate. Is I didn't realize that business would be the hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. Like, it's much easier to just exert yourself physically all the way to your limits. And you can do that every day because you have a clear task condition standard with a time hack of what you have to do. When you get into business, man, nobody tells you what you're supposed to do at all. And I started off as a solo agent with an ego thinking I knew everything. And my very first deal that I had, somebody tried to rip me off 50% of my commission to write a purchase and sale agreement because I didn't know what to do. And my entire journey has just been failure after failure after failure after failure, and then learning from my mistakes to finally be able to figure out, okay, like this is what you're supposed to do. And the one thing that the military taught me, the nice thing about being in the 75th Ranger Regiment, is the reason they're the number one light infantry force in the entire world is because they train the basics. Like, we didn't do anything fancy. Like, every single thing that we ever learned was on a whiteboard. And then you take your whiteboard and you always have a notebook in your pocket. You know, I always have one within arm's reach no matter where I'm at. And you copy notes. And then what you have to do is, once somebody teaches you, you have to present that information in front of a group of people. So you have to know it. So it's like the know, like learn, do type thing. And that's where it all starts, is having to do that. And when you can transfer those skills into real estate, and you can find an awesome guy like yourself who's been there before, because I'm a firm believer that your mentor needs to be someone who is where you want to be, that's when everything changed. It doesn't matter your work ethic. It doesn't matter if you work 12, 18 hours a day. If you're not doing the right stuff, none of it matters. And that was my first 13 months in real estate trying to figure it out. I didn't even close my first deal for 6 months. It was embarrassing. Sitting on the couch, my wife's an intern, we're making no money, and I have to have a roommate to be able to pay rent. And I'm a former special operations guy. I have combat deployments with awards, shooting awards from Germany, like all this stuff. And now I just felt worthless sitting at home on a couch with my foot up, knowing that my dream of what I wanted to do for a living was just taken from me. And now I'm sitting around for 6 months pretending that I'm actually doing something, trying to convince my wife at home that, yeah, I'm selling houses, I'm doing it. When in all reality, I'm just calling people and they're telling me to F off all day. And I'm just, man, it was discouraging. But that's essentially where it started. And I bet a lot of people that are watching this probably started in the same boat. Or if you didn't, I mean, I wish I would have had a better opportunity. But that's where it all started, man.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful position to start in, because when you've kind of hit what many would consider almost like a rock bottom situation, you now know what you never want to go back to. And I think, when you have people that start real estate and it just goes easy for them somehow, maybe they have, prior connections or industry experience or whatever the situation is, it's much easier to become complacent because it's just been easy. But when you've struggled, you never want to go back there. And
Never.
So I think there's a lot of beauty in that kind of position. And so, we'll come back at the end about the mindset aspect of that whole journey, but let's kind of talk about the YouTube side of things. So, a lot of people are kind of harping on cold calling, door knocking. We know it works, but we also know that it's not enjoyable. And so what was kind of that pivotal moment that made you start to say, I'm not just going to look into YouTube, but I'm actually going to go all in on YouTube?
When I heard you talk about time freedom and money freedom, that's it. It changed the whole game, Mike. And the reason is because when you cold call, you're making one call to one person at one moment. And no matter what, the only other way for me to expand myself is to hire an ISA, an inside sales agent, to make calls with me. But then I'm taking part of my commissions to be able to pay somebody else who's not as good as I am. Because no one is going to be as good at my business as me, because nobody's going to care about it more than me. They might just be getting a paycheck. My life's on the line, my livelihood. I got to support the family. I got bills to pay. You know what I mean? People are relying on me, just like the people that are watching this video. People are depending on you to bring home a paycheck. Whether that's like healthcare, emergencies that pop up, paying your mortgage. Maybe you have a niece, nephew, or even a friend that really needs help, and you could help them if you had the extra money, right? So that's where it all started with YouTube, because in real estate, you make a paycheck by selling a house to one person, one time, for one paycheck. And I couldn't get over the fact that I'm calling people 3 hours a day, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. every single day, trying to pile up my calendar. And then when I'm not on the phones, my business is completely dead. It goes from all the way up, plummets, and it doesn't go back up until I call. But also, statistics show within real estate that you need to make 8 to 12 contacts before you can actually turn somebody into a client. So you're telling me I need to call, text, email, DM 8 to 12 times in order to get one person that doesn't even know me because I randomly called them on the phone? All of a sudden, I realized that I can only do like 2 to 3 deals per month. That's the most that I could possibly do, until I found a prospecting system that prospects for me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year with evergreen content. That was the defining moment. I didn't know if how I was going to do it because, Mike, when I met my wife, no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok, no social media. Her family made me go to their house and meet them before I took my wife out because they thought I was a weirdo, you know? So going from nothing to all in, man, it was uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable.
I think that's a good kind of thing that we can dive into is that discomfort, because I was the same as you, is in the sense of, you know, you get these flashbacks on Facebook of what you said on your, you know, timeline 10 years ago. And, you know, all of mine is how much I hated social media and people taking selfies and stupid videos. And, you know, now that's what I do all day, every day. And, you know, it's a lot of people make the kind of false assumption that people that are thriving on platforms like YouTube or TikTok, Instagram, any video format have just always loved social media. They've all been about video, and that's really not the case. Almost every person that I know crushing it on content hated the idea of getting in front of the camera, but they knew they had to. And so it was the dilemma of, do you want to be broke or do you want to be uncomfortable? You know, pick your poison, because it's got to be one of the two. And so, you know, we'll get into sort of the success you've had on YouTube. But first, let's kind of talk about what that journey was like in the beginning of kind of getting the ball rolling, because that first initial stage is what most agents struggle with, is you just building momentum. Once you're in momentum, you can keep it. But to get into momentum is where a lot of people struggle. So what was that journey like for you to kind of get outside of your own head and do something that was uncomfortable?
Exactly. First and foremost, I had to make the decision that this was what I was going to do. And I think my mindset changed when I fully understood that I'm not getting in front of camera to get a bunch of views or to go viral with different things, you know, to entertain people. It was my goal to take what's inside of my head and put it on the internet. So instead of me, for example, having to go over a buyer presentation, let's say that, a million times and say word for word exactly the same thing to a buyer, I could create what I have, a 19-minute video. I literally have it in my phone. I type in BG for buyer guide, YouTube video link automatically pops up. I send it to them. They watch that before we get on a call together. So I had to understand that what I'm doing is I'm serving my client by providing value to answer the questions that they have, but on a computer screen or cell phone, instead of me having to say the same things over and over and over again. Because in the world of business, the only way you make money is by solving problems. So I realized that by getting on camera, I'm solving people's problems without me having to be face-to-face or over the phone. So once that clicked, I realized that, okay, I have to do this. I started watching you on YouTube. I literally consumed every single video, and I'm gonna be honest, okay? Because there's other people that do this too. I was like a success zombie there for a few months. I watched and watched and watched and took no action. And then my wife came over to me one day. She's like, Luke, like, you're talking about YouTube and all this. Do you even have an account? And that hit me. I was like, oh crap. Okay. Today I'm going to get started. And I literally did it exactly how you said. I started my YouTube channel. I went on Fiverr. I think I paid like $35. I got some banners that went up, and then, you know, I optimized my stuff just based off your YouTube videos. And then what I actually ended up doing, I don't think I've ever told you this before. So I actually bought your Social Agent Academy, and I hired a virtual assistant. Before, full disclosure, virtual assistant was an ISA that sucked. I can say that because June's still my personal assistant now. And he sucked so bad on the phone, but he was so good at like learning. I was like, dude, is there something else you can do? He's like, well, I used to edit videos. So I was like, come on in. So for $5 an hour in the Philippines, he edited my first 100 videos for me. $5 an hour. It was absolutely amazing. And what we did was we literally took 3 weeks together. We got on Zoom and we watched Social Agent Academy, the YouTube series, from start to finish, shoulder to shoulder, online. And we went through it so I could properly optimize my channel, learn tags, description, titles, learn my hooks, learn what kind of content I need to be filming, all that kind of stuff. And for my first 9 months, I completely did it all on my own, with no coach, no mentor, no nothing except for your YouTube videos. And then I bought your course, which, by the way, Mike and everybody watching here, I won't bring up their names, but to date, before you, I've spent $55,000 on sales training. When I first got into YouTube, Mike, I sold my truck. I sold my guns because I'm living in an apartment. I had nothing. So I sold stuff. I went on Facebook Marketplace. My wife and I made like $3,000 one month selling just random stuff around the home. And I bought all these courses prior to YouTube for cold calling, door knocking, all of these programs that promise the world. But at the same time, it's not passive prospecting. It will never prospect for me unless I'm actually doing the work. So that's essentially how I got it started on YouTube, bubblegum and, wrapped everything together with duct tape. And it was kind of embarrassing at first. If you look at my first videos, I suck so bad. I don't even feel comfortable sometimes clicking on them because it's just cringe. But you only get better by doing. So all of those videos got me to where I am today because now I'm confident on camera. I never was. Now I'm confident to get in front of people. I never was. My communication skills have 10x'd because the more you speak, the better you get. So that's essentially where it started. It wasn't some super fancy journey. I just watched you on YouTube, went on Fiverr, and we got started.
I love that, man. I think it's such an important message, especially where you kind of kicked it off with the fact that you just made a commitment. You said, I'm no longer going to be one of those serial learners that just spends all day, every day consuming information. You're actually going to execute on the information. We always talk about the fact that, people make that typical quote of knowledge is power, but knowledge is not power, it's potential. The application of it is what's powerful. If you don't apply the knowledge you have, it's essentially useless, right? And the only big difference between you and some of the people that might be watching is the fact that you made that commitment and you never stopped. You committed to it full tilt and did whatever it took. And I think it's really cool that you found those nuances of, being able to leverage your VA and be able to just follow a proven process. And so, before we start going into your process of video ideas, content that's worked, how you're now kind of using your content workflow, why don't you just maybe unpack your success on YouTube? Like what have you actually achieved now over the last months when it comes to leveraging YouTube, knowing that it took you, 6 months to close your first deal in real estate. Your first journey in YouTube was a little bit hairy because you weren't familiar with it like everybody's, but where are you at now?
Yep. Full disclosure, from the day I started my YouTube channel till I closed my first deal on YouTube was 9 months. And the person that found me was because I popped up as a related video to my number one competitor in the area that has a YouTube channel. He has had a YouTube channel for 3 years longer than I have, and he's been a real estate agent for 10 years. And at the time of starting YouTube, I had my license for like 7 or 8 months at that time. So essentially my first deal, I got lucky. And if you go back to like my first 100 videos, I was just throwing out random ideas. Like I have like 25 videos that are buyer frequently asked questions that I turned into long form that are like 2 to 3 minutes long that were just spam. No views, no nothing. And I didn't realize that nobody was searching for that stuff. YouTube is owned by Google. They're a search engine. You need to create content that people are searching for. But not only that, you need to hook them, you need to gain their attention, and you need to provide them so much value that they're willing to click on your channel, get lost, and book a call with you. So the whole goal is to provide enough value that somebody sees you online and says, yes, this person can solve my problems. And I did not go about that in the beginning until you gave me the right videos to film. So for the first 3 months, you always recommend the same 8 videos month 1, month 2, and month 3, and they change a little bit so we can find our niche. Me, I saw Sum and Kim on the internet and I'm like, I'm the new construction listing guy in my area. But then I didn't realize until I could get that out of my head. And what you taught me was, Luke, you need to film these individual videos with these titles, with this content to see your viewership in your local area because every market is completely different. I live in Middle Georgia. You drive an hour north towards Atlanta, it's completely different. It is populated with gorgeous $1 million home tours, like somebody in our coaching group. And it just blows up 50, 60, 70,000 views on a video. But that's not my area. I found out that relocation buyers, specifically military members, are flooding Google and YouTube with questions. So it wasn't until I went through my first 3 months and then I now am starting to direct my content to what people are actually looking for based off my YouTube analytics. You taught us how to download the CSV file, upload it into ChatGPT, and now ChatGPT literally gives me my video topics to see what people are actually searching for. And now I'm just getting leads pumped out like crazy, booked straight on my calendar, 2, 3, 4 calls a week, compared to back in the day where I was stressing out of my mind because I filmed content for 9 months with nothing, you know? And now like I can't even keep up with the business that I'm getting, and I'm having to build a team. I've had my license for literally last month, 2 years.
Yeah. And I think that's such another important talking point is, a lot of agents kind of, are a little bit hard on themselves because they misconstrue experience with value. And they think that just because they don't have 10 years experience that nobody's going to listen to them or that they can't do it. The truth is you see people like you 2 years into it, and we have many other agents that are doing it in the first 1, 2, 3 years, and they're absolutely crushing it, because the truth is that the searchable content really isn't that data driven. It's really not predicated on edification. It's just sharing the right value in a very genuine and authentic way. So, for you, talking about those relocation videos, what type of content in terms of like video topics have worked really well for you in terms of generating actual leads?
Yeah, absolutely. So home tours are great. Neighborhood tours, the community tours, city tours have been huge. And then, pros and cons of living in, top 5 things of moving in, 5 reasons you shouldn't move to. And all of those types of videos is a really great way to build a foundation, because what my average client is, they watched one video, went to my channel, then watched 6, 7, 8, 9 videos. So as long as we can capture that one person through search engine and they get to the channel, that's all that matters, because they themselves get lost on it.
100%. Yeah. And so let's kind of unpack that for a quick second, is the lead journey. A lot of people are always curious about that, of like, are most people contacting you via cell, in terms of text, call, email, Calendly? What does the journey look like from kind of that initial point of contact to then eventually booking an appointment and starting a journey together?
Absolutely. And before we get into that really quick, some people are probably thinking like, Luke, if it took me 9 months, like I'm not willing to have delayed gratification for that long. What people fail to realize is when you build a YouTube channel and build a social media presence, what does that make you, Mike, in your local area? A local celebrity. So you become an authoritative figure in your marketplace. Don't just sit around and wait for leads to come to you. When you start producing content, I'm telling you what, you need to get a notebook out. Write down the word buyer, seller, investor. Every single person in your cell phone, I don't care if they're local or out of state. Every one of your friends on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, I don't care who you are. I'm not from Middle Georgia. I grew up in Ohio, was stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia. Now I live in Middle Georgia. Nobody in my area, okay? And what you need to do is you need to literally do the Alex Hormozy method of 5 to 10 people a day. Type in, hey, Susan, saw that your kid just had a birthday party. Hope all is good. Just a nice little message. Start a conversation and then figure out a way to sneak in some value or one of your videos that you just did. You need to get people in your local area, which is your sphere of influence, is your social media followers and people on your cell phone, to know that you do video content. Because number one, you're getting deals today by doing that. I don't know why people still cold call, do all of that, door knock, mailers, all of that kind of stuff. You're on YouTube. Show other people you're on YouTube, because they don't know yet unless you tell them. But number 2, a huge way to get now business too that I found out, like you're asking me, is it DMs? Is it Calendly? Anytime I get a new follower, Mike, this is literally what I do. Hey, ! Send. Thank you for the follow. Send. Are you here for the videos, or is there a real estate question I can answer? 85% of my followers say, yes, Luke, I was following you because I'm looking to move to Middle Georgia. Yes, Luke, I was thinking about selling my home. Hey, Luke, I actually wanted to follow you because I'm going to move here in 2 to 3 years. Like, it's a huge pie. But I went probably 6, 7, 8 months without knowing that, and I gained hundreds of followers. And now that I just started implementing that about a month ago, I'm not even joking when I say 85%. The reason I say 15% is because about 15% of my followers are realtors, and I'm not going to send that message to them, But how people contact me, I love Calendly, but it's just not the best option. Because you're putting almost a wall in front of you that somebody has to commit, type in their name, everything like that. Throw your phone number up on the screen. I use Follow Up Boss. I use my company phone number. And I just say, hey, shoot me a text message. have that easy barrier to entry and just be a real person, and then just have a normal call with them. Answer the phone. Hey, so-and-so, what made you decide to reach out to me? What can I help you with? And just be a friend. You know what I mean? They're going to open up, tell you their story, and then you actually have a client. No more 8 to 12 contacts. One.
Yeah, man, it's so true. And the part that I love about it so much is that not only is it, less logistically a nightmare, but also you're working with your ideal clients because they've already made up the decision that they know, like, and trust you. Otherwise, they wouldn't reach out to you, and thus you don't have to deal with the nightmare clients that you typically do from prospecting. The content process, you've kind of had an evolution, and I love to kind of unpack that of, starting with, what does the journey look like for you? What did it look like in the beginning, and what does it look like now? In the sense of coming up with video topics, planning the actual content. A lot of people kind of struggle with bullet points and what to say and scripts or whatever they choose to do. So we have preparation, recording, post-production, which is going to be the editing, thumbnails, optimization, that type of thing. What did that journey look like for you in order to get started and to stay consistent? Because that's where a lot of people get jacked up, is they start and then they stop because of the fact that they don't make it a priority, but also they're not really good at managing their time and blocking it off. So any words of advice there based on your journey?
100%. Just get started. We have this weird, I don't know why, okay? You go on Instagram and you see a real estate agent like Ryan Serhant or somebody like that with a full-blown media production section of their business. You compare yourself to them, their chapter 25 versus your chapter 1, and then you prevent yourself from getting started. It doesn't matter the quality of your content as long as you have good audio. Literally, this cell phone right here, iPhone 14 Pro Max, I think I had a 13 Pro Max before, was over a year of my content. Literally, I think I have it right here. With this little TikTok stand, I turned it sideways. I got like some textbooks or some books. I put it right in front of me. I stared at my camera and I spoke. Then I upgraded to the fancy DJI Osmo 6 for $140 at Best Buy and kept the same audio. Either the DJI audio or now I have like the Go Rode Me. It's like $100. And that's the only thing that I only did. And now I have a Sony a6400. I bought it at a pawn shop. It was like new, half off, cost me like $500. And I bought a light on Amazon for $180. And that's it. Yeah. And the thing is, you turn this iPhone on wide angle, 4K, and you go through a home with it, it looks better than most $1,000+ cameras. And then you put a $140 gimbal on it, and then all of a sudden it's picture smooth and it looks cinematic. Your equipment, you don't need to overspend, okay? When you're a big baller and you're slinging homes all day long because your YouTube channel's pumping up stuff, reinvest that money into better equipment if you want to. Hire a film crew in your local area, upgrade over time. But in the beginning, you don't really want people seeing your stuff anyway because you suck. You know what I mean? So get all that stuff out of the way, and then every video get 1% better. But then to answer your question with like thumbnails and stuff like that, I'm a firm believer that I want to outsource my content so I can focus on income producing activity. So what I did was I went through like 4, 5, 6 different people on Fiverr, and then I ended up finding June for $5 an hour, to be able to do it all for me. He did my thumbnails. He ended up doing my long form editing, my short form editing. And then because we went through Social Agent Academy together, guess what he did on vidIQ? Tags, title, description, uploads. So for $5 an hour, I literally had somebody do all of the tasks. I videotaped, I uploaded it to Google Drive, and he did everything for me for start to finish. I don't know about you. $5 an hour, I forgot how much it used to be. $5 an hour times 40 is $200 a week or $800 a month. You can find $800 a month for somebody to be able to do all of that for you. Now, is it the highest quality? No. Could you probably do it better yourself if you spent the time and learned the systems? Yeah, but if you're a real estate agent and you think that your time is worth something, why are you doing $10 activities, right? $10 an hour activities when you should be focusing on only income producing activities? Videotaping, doing your follow-up / prospecting, going on appointments, getting contracts. That's the only thing you should be doing as a real estate agent. And if you're spending your time doing anything else, I'm sorry, you're self-employed working for yourself, and you're spending your time doing things that don't make you any money.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of people don't really take into account the value of their time and being able to reallocate that, and a lot of people get caught up in looking at money going out as an expense. Well, it's an expense if you don't take that time and do anything with it, but if you take that time and reinvest it into something productive, it's an investment, not an expense. And a lot of people hit this massive plateau in their business because they do everything just because they know they can do it, even though they shouldn't be doing it. And a lot of them are hesitant to invest. But I love that you kind of spoke on that process of just getting started and improving over time. Before we kind of talk about now where you're at with your content, because you've really leveled up. When it comes to logistically planning your content, this is where a lot of people seem to struggle of the preparation, the bullet points. Maybe they've got relocation videos that are in their house, but then they've got property tours that are outside or community tours that are outside. And there's kind of moving parts. So what did it look like for you to kind of be on track? Did you block off a time in your calendar every week? Did you, batch maybe outdoor videos and then batch indoor videos? Or what's your advice to people that are kind of struggling with the logistics side of things?
Absolutely. And I'll answer that question, but I want to just be 100% transparent about something really quick, because I'm going to call myself out here, because I know there's people watching this video that think that I'm just special. I'm not, I promise. When I got started, I used to be a police officer, Mike, 12-hour shifts, 6A to 6P or 6P to 6A, depending on cycle. I had to show up to work early, and if I was on a call, I get off late. So like 13 plus hour days. And it was 24 hours week 1, 60 hours week 2, 24 hours and flipping if you didn't have overtime or somebody called out. I was used to working 12 plus hours a day. When I got into real estate, Mike, that got shattered. I was working, but I was doing busy work and I wasn't actually working. Mm-hmm. So the reason it took me so long is because I thought I was doing stuff. I was training, I was practicing scripts, I was practicing objections, but I wasn't actually doing the thing. So that's why it took so long to be able to do those specific tasks, is because I myself, I don't know if I was scared. I don't know what was in my way with that roadblock, but I really wasn't working that hard. I was claiming that I was working 8, 10, 12-hour days, but I wasn't. Does that make sense? So I just want to be fully clear for the people that are watching this video that you're not alone when you get started in this and you go from a job that somebody says, hey, do this or you're fired, to I can wake up a little bit later. Oh, I can sit and watch Netflix at lunch. Oh, I'm going to run to the store really quick at 2 p.m. on a Monday. You got to figure that out first. You need to have a self-talk. You need to look yourself in the mirror and say, why am I doing this? Is it worth it? Is time freedom and money freedom really worth it before you even get started to go down that journey? Because it's just so important to be able to understand that concept, because nothing that we talk about with YouTube, or we could go over cold calling or door knocking or anything to do with business or going over contracts. But if you can't make that commitment to yourself from the beginning that this is what I do now, I can't give up on myself. There is no plan B. I'm going to burn the ships and I'm a real estate agent now. None of this is going to matter, because this stuff is hard. Being a real estate agent is hard. You have like 20 different jobs and you're not guaranteed a paycheck.
Yeah. And not many people kind of acknowledge that. A lot of people just look at the showing homes and the listing of homes and not the logistics of it. So, just to kind of pull that full circle, going back to that question, what does that look like in terms of the advice for foundationally being able to build this out into your calendar and stay consistent with it? And so with different types of content and people kind of struggling to stay organized, how did you stay organized? How did you know what to say in your videos over time? And how did you kind of plan it out so that you didn't skip any content? You stayed consistent with it.
Absolutely. So I wasn't consistent with anything until I met you, and you became like my coach / mentor, like outside of YouTube. But before that, it was just anything that came off the top of my head. And I'll be 100% transparent. The reason I didn't get a deal for 9 months, because sometimes I'd videotape some stuff on Monday morning, and then it was a Wednesday evening, and then I'd do a short here, and then like I'd call a random agent, be like, hey, can I go videotape your property? My wife would follow me around with that, and I just start talking about it. I'd do a couple B-rolls, and then we just upload it. And I didn't get any results, okay? I didn't get results until I took it serious. And I didn't take it serious until I met you. And what happened with that was you gave me that list of 8 videos for the first month. I remember it consisted of a city tour, neighborhood tour, pros and cons, don't move here unless you, then like a map tour where like I got on Loom. At first it was Zoom. I shared my screen. I was like clicking around. I drove to neighborhoods. I did some B-roll and all that kind of stuff. And you have to understand when you first get started, you just got to do it. Like me, time block on Saturdays from like 8 a.m. to like 2 p.m. I know it sucks, but the thing is, you have to suck your way through getting to where you want to go, because you can't make millions of dollars in this industry and not do what's required, right? During the day with the lights up, you're working mornings, nights, and weekends. You have to be training. So with that, part of my training was videos on Saturdays. For example, a city tour, it takes like 4 hours. It's really a big hassle, and it's more comfortable for me to sit in front of a camera and videotape. But the thing is, I realized that some of my city tours got way more viewership than my normal camera videos. But to answer your question on how to do this, hopefully you can put like something in the description. I don't know if they're allowed to have it or not, about what those videos are. And then just do them, suck your way through the first 3 months. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. Pick a time throughout the week, just commit to it. Doesn't matter how bad it is. And then after those 3 months, you want to do 2 things. Number 1, your analytics. You already have a video on how to do that. And then number 2, what did you enjoy doing? Because over time, you're going to triple down on the things that you love. If you love sitting in your office and talking to people about real estate and all that kind of stuff, you're going to make phenomenal content sitting in front of your camera. If you love home tours, you're going to make phenomenal content on home tours. If you love city tours, if you love all those different things, pick the thing you love, because people are going to see the conviction. They're going to see the smile on your face, and they're going to reach out to you. If you're sitting in front of a camera and you're talking like this, and today we're going, are people going to click on your stuff? No. Mr. Beast says YouTube is 2 things. Click-through rate times watch time. Click-through rate is your title and your thumbnail. Does it promise the first 15 seconds of the video, right? Your hook. And then watch time, are you actually giving valuable information of what the title and the thumbnail actually said? If you can get excited about the content that you're making, you're going to win on YouTube. But that's where it comes from, because you could have the perfect script, you could have the perfect bullet points, you could have the perfect videos, like the lineup. But if you can't present it in a way that you have conviction about what you're selling to that individual, because selling is convincing them to make a change for a better life. Buying or selling a home usually makes them have a better life. If you can't convict them to make that change, you're never going to put out content that's important. So recap, do your first 3 months. Your 8 videos each month. If you can only do 1 video a week, just do 1 video a week. Get through those first 24 videos. Figure out what you love. What are people watching? Triple down on that.
That's amazing, man. It's again, I love that you really simplify things and not overcomplicate it and make it seem like there's something special and some unicorn scenario that just allowed you to succeed. You know, you just did the work, followed the path, and continued to elevate over time. And I think that's a kind of a good segue into, you know, what I'd like to kind of unpack with you next is you've always been a student of the game, but you've always tried to elevate your content every time you had the opportunity to. And so you started with what you could, and then over time you bought the, you know, Sony camera, and you started improving, and you got better audio, and so, you know, now what does your content process look like? Because now you're able to kind of outsource a large portion of it, which has been allowing you to reinvest that time back into more content and put out better content. So, you know, you kind of talked about that beginning aspect of just doing whatever it takes. But what does maybe that next phase look like if you've started to get into momentum and you're looking to go to the next level?
Absolutely. So I had a thought process thinking about it. And if I'm a true business owner, I need help. I can't do this by myself. The CEO of Apple makes $100 million a year. That's his salary. Does he do everything by himself? Does Elon Musk build rocket ships? Is he creating the engine inside of a Tesla? No, he has help because he has the vision of where he wants to go, but he can't do all of those tasks. So I realized that I needed to build a team. And I started watching videos. I saw Alex Hormozi on how he has a $40,000 a month spend on, a media team and all this other stuff. And I tried to do it on my own at first because going back to June, he's now like my executive assistant. He helps me with everything, but when he was my video editor, I had to fire like 3 or 4 different people. I tried to find a social media manager. I tried to find somebody that could do my SEO better. I tried to find somebody to help me with a website. I tried to find somebody to be able to take on the cold calling aspect. And I tried to hire people on my own. But what I failed to realize is that there's 2 ways of hiring. You hire somebody that you have to sit shoulder to shoulder, and then all of a sudden you're wasting all of this time, and every single person that I hired quit. Every single person. And I wasted 40, 80, 120 hours of my time where I could have been selling homes, teaching somebody something that they ended up giving up on because I tried to outsource it to the Philippines, to Mexico, to all of these other places by myself. I had to train them. I had to pay them. I had to do everything. And it was the biggest waste of time I possibly could. But then I learned, number 2, the right way to hire somebody is to hire somebody that knows the thing better than you do. And then you didn't even tell me about this, but you have a company that you co-own called High Converting Content that does that exact thing. Now I have a social media manager. I have a project manager. I have somebody that goes over my marketing with me. They go over the analytics of my competition within the local area to make sure that I'm producing better content than them. Before a thumbnail goes out, they have my thumbnail next to the competitors' thumbnails to make sure they click on mine. I have a video editor. I haven't even ran ads yet, but you guys have people that help you with ads, a website team, funnels, everything. So what I ended up doing was I took a proportion of my proceeds that I get from selling a home, and I made the decision that I'm going to outsource these activities so I can go back to income producing activities, which for me is shooting videos, talking with active clients, going on appointments, and getting contracts. So over time, you start by yourself. You can use 5 or you can find 1 virtual assistant and train them and not go down the whole path of trying to build out yourself over time, and then upgrade as you go on. I think that's the best method possible. Now to finish that off, if you want like the number 1 production team in the entire world and you want to spend 40 grand a month like Alex Hormozi, no one's going to care about your business more than you do. And maybe one day you hire out your own team, but don't start there. Hire out a team that knows what they're doing, that can take your business and take you to where it wants to go. And to be honest, the first 10% of my results, were on my own through the course of like 13 months. And the last 90% of my results was because I finally said, I can't do this on my own. I'm going to give up some of my commission check and go to people that know more than me. And that's hard. It's real hard, Mike, when you have an ego and you've been training all this time to say that people know more than you. But hey, results speak for themselves.
Yeah, man. And again, if anybody has any questions about that, they can, of course, reach out to you and you can kind of share what that journey's been like, working with that team. But I think for me, at least, I pay a substantial amount. I pay about $7,000-8,000 a month for my video content. And the thing that I've always, kind of felt, and I'm sure you're this way too, is that when you're financially invested into something, you're much more likely to execute. When you're doing it by yourself, if you don't do it, not only are there no immediate repercussions in terms of business, but you don't feel any financial pain. Whereas when you're on a monthly retainer, like, I am spending $7,000-8,000 a month, if I don't do my content, well, that $7,000-8,000 a month is going out either which way. So I might as well get the content out and actually use it to make 10 times that amount per month, right? Ooh. And I think, that leverage aspect really goes back to, why you started YouTube, in order to create leverage of your time. And now as you've continued to build momentum, you've continued to follow that principle of leverage to create even more by outsourcing it to a team. So I think it's incredible that you continue to lead by example and build this momentum. 2 kind of things before we kind of pull this together. The first is there's going to be a lot of people watching this and they're going to say, I really relate to you, Luke, and I love what you're doing. I think, I'm in the same place where I'm all caught up in my head, but you know what, this year, I'm going to take massive action. What's kind of your best advice to somebody that's looking to just get started today, and maybe any mistakes that they should avoid along their journey?
Absolutely. If you read the book on mental toughness by Andy Frisella, there's this big black quote, like right in the middle of the page. I freaking love that book. And it says, action equals results. Do you think Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, or LeBron got as good as they are just because they studied film, because they went through playbooks, or even because they had a coach? They got results because they took action on and off the court. And you can say that for anybody that's world class at something. If you want to be world class and get results that you see these other agents on YouTube, social media, the people that are at the top of the game, you have to take action. There's a learning curve when it comes down to this, and there's an ignorance tax that must be paid. So when you start with an iPhone. If you have an Android, get rid of it. They don't work. Okay. Like you'll upload it to Google Drive and it will say error. Like they just don't work. You have to get an iPhone. But once you upgrade to an iPhone and you get started, get $100 gimbal and just start taking videos. Of course you're going to be embarrassed at first. You're not a professional on camera, right? Go and read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and truly learn communication skills, because that's all it is you're conveying a message to somebody to convince them to have the same idea that you have, which is a good thing, because if you're a good realtor and you're watching this video right now and you truly want to make a difference in people's lives, you have to tell them. Mike, a really big deciding factor on why I'm doing this is because of all the agents in my local area, real estate committee, don't take my license away, are ruining people's lives. They're trading hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy or sell a home, and people don't know what they're doing. They don't care. It's my obligation for the Middle Georgia market. I must produce content so they don't get taken advantage of by somebody that doesn't care. It's your obligation. It's your duty. When you signed up to be a real estate agent, you might be thinking, oh, I'm doing this for the money. You have to realize that you were entrusted to serve your community now. It is your duty to do so. And if you don't make videos, how are people going to know about you? How are you going to help other people? So just get started. Action equals results. And if you need any help, I know you, Mike, and myself, we'd be more than happy to be able to help you start that journey. Because guess what? It's hard, but it's something that's worth doing. Because only things worth doing are hard things worth doing, because that's what's going to get you some great results when it comes down to it.
100%, man. It's, I love what you say about being a duty to the marketplace, because we talk to so many agents that are saying, Mike or Luke, I've got so much experience, but I'm just not doing deals. I work so much harder than everybody else. I have so much more knowledge than everybody else. But if nobody knows that, then nobody's going to work with you. And so,
Exactly.
When I hear these excuses, the only thing that you should be doing is amplifying that message so people can know what you do above and beyond. And I think, like you talked about, putting out content's hard, but it's much tougher to be broke and financially stressed every single day. And so, again, it's the lesser of two evils. What do you want to feel? And so I think discomfort far outweighs kind of the distress that you could feel if you don't take any action. And, you kind of perfectly led into that last thing I was like to talk about, Luke, of, you and I are here to serve, and we actually want to see people win. And we actually will go out of our way to have personalized one-on-one meetings and help people build out a plan and make sure people succeed and, help them scale to the point that both of us have done. And, now we've helped many others do. So, you thankfully have been able to partner with us at EXP. And now people have an opportunity to partner with you, myself, and Louie, and be able to get our support, not just on content, but also time management, productivity, mindset, and actually turn your business and your life around. So, what kind of made you decide to come over to EXP? And also, what can people expect when partnering with you?
Exactly. First and foremost, I'm a firm believer that brokerage doesn't matter. Yeah, sure, there might be other brokerages that have these fine, minute, like, oh, they have a credit card. They have this special thing. But man, to be fully transparent, it's all about the upline. It's about the community. Yeah, I did special operations in the military and I was lost until I found you guys. And I know that sounds crazy, but you got to be around the boys. You got to be around people who are better than you. You got to be around people that are going to motivate you, that are going to actually help you create discipline, because motivation lasts for a little bit, but discipline is going to be able to get you to where you need to go. I needed that community. But it's just great that I found that community that actually produces results, because I know the Wolfpack is 100% about production. It's about how can we sell more homes, make more money, serve better, get in better shape, read, take care of your family better. Like it's not just about how to make money. Go join another group if that's the only thing that you care about. If you care about being a better human being, serving your community, being a better father, husband, wife, sister, brother, whatever it is, like that's why we're doing this. And if you want to partner with me at EXP, I can guarantee that I'm going to be able to help you. And I know this video does not even scratch the surface of YouTube. It's not going over me interviewing local business owners that have thousands of followers on Facebook to be able to use normal, earned media to be able to blow up my channels. It's not talking about professional home tours that are going to be able to generate leads so I can build a huge buyer team. It has nothing, like we haven't even scratched the surface of this stuff. And to be able to find a community like ours, all I have to say is we would love to have you to be able to come and join us and partner with us to be able to truly help you. But we're not slowing down. Our foot's on the gas and we're here to win. So if you want to be on a team that wants to win, there's no other group to join, because we're going to run everything over. And it's not like trying to be rude, like, oh, we're going to run people over. It's just who we are. We're pursuing excellence at every level.
I love that, man. And it's such a good way to kind of pull a full circle, because like you say, our group is like a family, and we will ride or die with, all of the incredible men and women in our community. And we have so many people that are, moms with young kids that are putting out content, breaking six figures, and, older guys that are in their 60s putting out content and breaking figures. There's the whole spectrum of people. And it's so cool to see that the blueprint has worked for everybody. But like you alluded to, you have to be around the right people, because at the end of the day, you're a product of your environment. So Luke, again, man, thank you so much for this conversation. I know we just touched the surface of what could be done when it comes to leveraging YouTube video content. But, as I mentioned in the very beginning of this content, Luke's got two incredible channels. One that is his local production channel, where you can see proof of the pudding of him actually going out and doing these videos, but another channel educating agents on how to do this stuff on a deeper level and kind of sharing his incredible strategies. So both will be linked in the description, as I mentioned in the beginning. And again, if you would like to chat with us about partnering and about getting our support and help this year to go forward and have a proven roadmap with people that support you, make sure you book a call with Luke. But dude, again, thank you for being on today.
Let's do it. It's an honor, Mike. And I look forward to serving anybody that wants to have that conversation. And even if you're not ready to just jump brokerages, it doesn't matter. I'd still love to be able to talk to you to see if we can help serve you in some way. Because at the end of the day, we're here for the people. It's not about the money.
100%, man. Well, guys, again, hopefully you got a ton of value out of this. Again, Luke is not slowing down at any rate. So you want to make sure to go check out both of those channels, especially the one that's going to be educating you on how to do this stuff on a much deeper level. So please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you book a call with Luke. We'll see you guys next time.